Hi there everyone. I hope you're all doing well. Today, or at least the last 24 hours, have been a little bit rough for me, but I've been very blessed at the same time. I thought I lost my car keys, and it turns out I'd left my keys in the ignition with my truck unlocked. And I was in a bit of a panic when I realized I didn't have my truck key, and I went down and saw that my truck was still in my parking lot, and the keys were in the ignition, so it hadn't been damaged or stolen or anything like that. So the angels were with me there, and then I got to work here in my parlor, and I forgot my coffee out in the truck. So now I'm drinking slightly cold coffee, but at least I have it, right? So it's been a little bit of that kind of bumps in my life just over the last 24 hours. But I wanted to get in here and talk to you about a deck because we're in October and I have a lot of dark decks, and I love Halloween. I feel Halloween's more of a lifestyle as opposed to a holiday, but it is also a holiday. It's called Samhain. That's how you pronounce that word that people never know how to pronounce because none of the letters in there really join up to the sounds that you have to make for it. So Samhain is the name of the Celtic holiday that is Halloween, basically. And Halloween is actually a season. So much like Christmas, you know the song, The 12 Days of Christmas, people often forget that Christmas is a season. And for me, because I celebrate both Christian and pagan, my Christmas season starts December 21st, usually the first day of winter solstice, and then I have Christmas, and then I have New Year's, and I'm celebrating in between with little get-togethers with family and friends, normally speaking. I don't know what this year is going to be like with COVID and whatnot, and my husband's birthday actually lands Christmas Eve as well. Not Christmas Eve, sorry, New Year's Eve, I meant to say. So for me, it's a season. Same thing with Halloween or Samhain. Samhain's actually a season, and it's usually in old ancient pagan times, it was celebrated much like Christmas. It was about a 10-day celebration. And you'll notice there's still throwbacks to that. Like if you look at the Catholic Church, for instance, there's Halloween that gets celebrated. We all know when that is, but then November 1st is the Day of the Dead with the sugar skulls that a lot of people recognize, and then November 2nd is All Saints Day, and again honoring the dead and celebrating those who have gone beyond but have been especially good because you're a saint, right? So so it is like, although it's only a 3-day thing, and I remember as a kid, I was raised Roman Catholic, we went to church on All Souls Day and All Saints Day and that sort of thing. And it was basically a little bit of a season. It was a 3-day kind of thing for us. So that's, Samhain is not just a day. Just like Mother Nature gives us days, like the full moon, a lot of people mistakenly think only happens on one day, but actually the moon stays full for 3 days. I jokingly say Mother Nature knows that we're busy and we need that buffer time. So if we miss the first day, we can hit it on the second or third day. So keep that in mind, that a lot of these celebrations and things tend to be seasons within themselves almost. Like there's not just that one day. We don't have to focus on the one day. We're always so busy and go, go, go that we seem to think it lasts for 24 hours and then it just magically disappears. Because the veil is thinning right now. This is the time of year when the veil's thinning. You've probably heard that. And people seem to think it's only thin near Halloween. It's actually thinning now, and it gets at its thinnest near the end of October, the beginning of November. And we've all gone through November. November is kind of a dull, quiet, darker month, much like the end of October is. The colors are gone, the leaves have dropped, the trees are starting to look bare, you know, the gardens are sort of mucked over and what we can get from the gardens have been gotten. There's usually quite a bit of rain. It's often gloomy, but it hasn't yet snowed, so it doesn't have that white pristine kind of thing about it. So November is also one of those months when it's a good time to commune with the dead, connect with the fairies, because a lot of people forget that the veil's thin, not only to commune with the dead and past souls, but also with the fairies, because we can go into fairyland a little easier. Now I'm getting more into the light because I wanted to remind people too that May is also a month when the veil thins. So that's another month where you can also talk to your past loved ones a little more easily, because May is the month of the fairies and they're coming out more and more in that month. But we are in October. We're all about the fall and pumpkins and Halloween and Samhain and that sort of thing. So one of the first decks I wanted to get on here and talk to you about, I'm really excited about it because I've got one of her books, and in the back of the book of this deck, it's an oracle deck, she has more of her decks and her books and things like that. So it's the Halloween Oracle. I love the skulls. I love like the skull here. I love skulls in general. And it's Stacy DeMarco. And this is one of her books that I've had for years and years, The Witch in the Bedroom. She also has one called The Witch in the Boardroom, if you want one for, you know, career and job and that sort of thing. She's actually from Australia, or she lives there now, and she's written quite a few books. I like her because, well, one, she's a huge animal activist, so I love that, and she's very no-nonsense, you know, just like, here it is. And she's got two decks that she's worked on with a partner, I can't remember his name, but they go through, she's very balanced, is what I like, because one of the decks is a god deck, and one of the decks is a goddess deck, and she's very much about balancing both the male and female energy and recognizing that we have both in us, and to drag one through the mud means we're dragging ourselves through the mud and that sort of thing, right? So I love that about her. She's very kind of down to earth and practical. She also she's in a feature, The Ocean Guardian's Diary. So it's a book, I believe, that's been written, and she wrote it about Captain Paul Watson. So if you don't know who he is, he supports the Sea Shepherd organization. He was the captain of one of their boats, and what they do is they go around the world and rescue whales and dolphins and seals and things that have gotten caught in like some of our garbage that's in the ocean. They also are activists as far as stopping some of the illegal hunting of whales and dolphins and sharks and things like that. And I know of Captain Paul Watson because I've watched his show. I can't remember the name of the show. I watched it years and years ago. But what I was particularly proud of is, in order to be a captain on his ship, he had to fly under a flag of some country, and no country would back him. But the Mohawks of Tyandanega did step up, and the Mohawks of the Iroquois Confederacy stepped up and said, you can fly under our flag because it is, we are a nation and we are a recognized nation. And so I was like, yay! So it had a couple of really good links for me. One, he's a huge animal activist and always fighting for the sea life in particular, and two, he was flying under an Iroquois Confederacy flag, which just made me proud of him and my people, and that he was able to do that because they were threatening to take him off the oceans because he didn't actually have any country backing him. So the Iroquois stepped up to do that. So that's awesome. I think that's really cool. But back to the deck. So it comes in a fairly large box, as you can see, and it's mostly to fit the book. And the book, I like this book because there's actual like descriptions of each card. Now, oracle cards are usually good for coming with a book. It's the tarot decks that sometimes just come with that little white sheet of paper that gives the generic meanings. And that kind of bothers me with tarot decks, especially when they're ones that deviate a little bit or have a way different kind of style. I like it when they can give you the reasoning behind the different style or the deviation that they take from the tarot. But again, like I said, we're going back to Oracle here. So this is the book that comes with it. And these are the cards. Now the cards are fairly large. I do have to stretch my hand, and I'm used to stretching my hand. Just to give you an example, here's the Gilded deck. Now, you know, I'm used to this deck. It's a little bit bigger than a playing card deck, obviously. But this deck is even bigger if you look at the size. So, so it will take some practice to kind of learn how to shuffle it and know, you know, like get your hands used to that kind of thing. So it says, lifting the veil between the worlds every night. Experience the scariest night of the year every night. So I'm pulling this out for Halloween. Like I said, it's a newer one for me, so I'm adding it to some of my darker decks that I pull out on Halloween. Now I do have special Halloween based readings that I do. You can find them on Facebook. That's where I post a lot of my promotions. I'll put the link for my Facebook page down below. If you want a special Halloween reading, I have a trick-or-treat one, and I have a communing with the dead one in particular. I have one that finishes out the year for you to see what this year is bringing for you and how it's going to finish out, what the energy is, and all that kind of stuff. So these cards are nice and thick. They're not super thick, like where they're like, oh, do I have 2 or 3 cards? But they're sturdy. They're glossy, which is nice. The back is very Halloween kitschy, which I kind of like. You know, Halloween, you want a little kitsch in Halloween, right? So I like that about it. But on the other side, the cards are definitely quite serious, right? So there's this card here. So this is a card, and I love that she gets into the history of some of these things. So this is a bread that is made. I was just reading about it, and I've forgotten it already. Let me find it here, so I'm telling you the right stuff, giving you the right information. So it's, like I said, it's a loaf of bread that was traditionally baked around Halloween, and it had sweet things in it like raisins and dried fruits and sugar, like more sugar than a normal loaf of bread would have. So it actually goes back to an Irish tradition. And oh, that's the other thing, that's what I remember about it, is that things would be put into it. So I don't know, I might be aging myself a little, but does anyone remember those birthday cakes? You would go and have a birthday party with your girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, your little friends from school. And inside were coins. So if you got a coin, you got to keep it. You know, you get like 5 cents, 10 cents. Probably totally unhygienic. Some moms wrapped the coins, some moms didn't. So, you know, it depends. Money's kind of dirty, right? So that was a big thing when I was like around 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, sort of thing. I love going to birthday parties because I might walk away with some money. Like I said, some moms wrapped it, some moms didn't. But the other thing, the other danger is that it poses is that you might break a tooth. Now they do put different things in this one, but that's kind of where that money thing came from, was from this tradition. So they've got, I think, a ring, and I think there is a coin that's normally put in there. And if you get the coin, it means you're gonna have, you know, have good luck with money all year long. If you get the ring, it means you're gonna get married. And they have a few other things that are baked into this bread. So it's kind of an interesting little history lesson for some of these cards too. But when this card comes up, it says sweetness and synergy. And then, of course, a favorite, the black cat. And she does talk about, I'm trying to get it so it's not so shiny, so you can kind of see it. Fortune meets opportunity. And she talks about black cats and the fact that black cats aren't considered unlucky all over the world. It actually, I think it was, let me see, where's black cat? It's at the front. It was only in Germany that black cats crossing your path was considered unlucky. In Britain, it's considered good luck, I think. In China, they thought it was good luck, that sort of thing. So it was kind of interesting that, oh, it was Japan, sorry. Japan, to this day, they are considered very good luck and bringers of good fortune, the black cats. And she talks about the Inquisition and in the Middle Ages, how when the Black Plague came around, they wanted to blame the witches, and they, the witches had cats as familiars according to them, so they killed a lot of the cats. The carriers of the Black Plague were actually rats, so they killed the thing that would get rid of the rats that would help stop the plague from spreading so quickly. So, kind of interesting how that worked out. We also have cauldron. So she's got the tools in here. She's got dawn. So the wise owl and dawn, a new day beginning, the light after darkness is what the card says. I love that she does have a death card in this deck, and I love it. It's a butterfly transforming, but there's also sort of like underneath it kind of wings, like angel wings developing, and death, the eternal cycle, begins here. Because death is really a beginning, not an ending, if you really think about it. And then we've got eternal love. There's the love card in skeletons, of course. So, you gotta love that, right? Eternal love. Love is love is love. It transcends physical death. Forgiveness card. So there's, like I said, it's kitschy on the outside, like the deck, it looks like, something you would see candy corn wrapped in or something. But the inside's quite serious, quite serious. We've got the ghost, and that's about regret. The underworld, where all things pause and begin again. So when you die and you go to the underworld, you're just taking a rest, between things happening. We've got ancestors, and I love that she's got the tree of life, and then she's got, like, done up in branches and greenery, this DNA looking type strand, which is all about our ancestors and love and legacy in our DNA, because and this is one of my favorite cards. I like this one because it's very for me sort of fairy tale reminiscent, because it looks like Snow White's apple. I love this card. I love the look of this card. I love the darkness of it. I love the blood, the apple. There's a heart in the apple, but it's implied it might be poisonous, right? But it says apple, risk and reward, right? There's risk and reward with both. What else? We've got the veil. There's the veil. That's about the future, right? So when that card comes up, maybe time to look at the future. What else do we have? We've got, of course, the witch. The witch, the earthly weaver of the worlds. She's got a zombie card in here for those of you that like zombies. I like zombies. I have nothing against zombies. I've watched all kinds of zombie movies and zombie shows, but I'm a little zombied out right now. Doing a lot of zombies. Invisibility. So this is an interesting card because it says authenticity. Two words, interesting to put together if you really think about it, right? And then of course we've got the jack-o'-lantern and protection, because the jack-o'-lantern's used for a couple of different things, and she does talk about this, and I love that she does give you some information behind some of the traditions of Halloween. Like, for instance, this started in Ireland. It was a very Celtic thing. They didn't always do pumpkins. They often did turnips and squash, those kind of things. But again, the fall harvest, carving it out, and one would be for making sure that evil spirits didn't come into your home. So one would be for that, but it was also, you could carve another one or create one to light the way for your ancestors to find their way home. Because I have read in another book, and I can't remember which book it was, but it talked about jack-o'-lanterns and saying not to make them too scary because you don't want to scare off your loved ones. But you can also put like turnips or squash or pumpkins carved out in the windowsills and make them friendly to light the way home for your ancestors, to know this home is friendly for them. So, calling in your mom and dad or your grandparents or some aunts and uncles or any of your ancestors, your great-grandfather, your great-great-great grandmother, in to do a dummy dinner, if you know what that is. So at Halloween, it's traditional because Halloween is about death and about those that have passed, and that's why ghosts and things are part of Halloween. But a dummy dinner, what you do at Samhain is you have a big dinner, like a big Sunday Christmas type dinner, right? Roast beef and all the fixings, or chicken and all the fixings, or whatever you want, or tofu chicken. And you set a place with a full place setting for your ancestors or for your past loved ones, and no one sits at that chair. You have to put a chair there too. You act as if someone's really actually going to be there and having dinner with you, but no one uses those plates or cutlery or glasses or cups, or the chair. It's there to welcome anybody from the dead that, you know, in particular family, but some friends and stuff like that, that want to join you for dinner. And perhaps they want to relay some messages, or maybe you'll just feel the energy of them, or, you know, maybe something funny will happen that, oh, you know, mom would have laughed at that, or whatever kind of thing. And it's your way of honoring your past loved ones, and welcoming them to break bread with you, because that's a very big thing, to break bread with someone. Now we've got joy, rejoicing in the presence. So it's not very Halloweeny, but it's very fall-like, and fall is all about abundance, because that's when we're reaping what we, you know, work so hard for. That's when the harvest comes in. That's why we have Thanksgiving. And then we've got Lady de los Motros. I hope I'm saying that right. But this is the iconic Day of the Dead sugar skull kind of look. And she does give you history and information about her and why, for instance, why it's such a big thing to have this celebration, this Day of the Dead. So I really, really appreciate that. There's the lamp I was talking about to light the way for your ancestors. Midnight, one of the witching hours. Sometimes people say midnight, sometimes people say 3 a.m. She's got a series of skulls in here. So this one, for instance, is the skull of darkness. And she's got, I think, a skull of flowers. Let me just take a look here. See if I can find another skull. I think she's got about 4 of them in here, but they all mean something different. So they're all kind of neat. Okay, so there's the skull of stars. Skull of stars, skull of darkness. So if you're a skull lover, you're going to love this deck. We've got the hearth fire, of course. Very big, especially in the fall. This is when we start thinking about, do we turn the heat on? Back in the day, do we have enough wood to take us through the winter? Even still today, there's a lot of people out in the country. I know when I lived in the country, it's like, you know, we got to get the wood sorted and stacked so it's ready to go. And hearth in this case means happiness in our hearts and homes, because of course when you have the hearth, you have warmth, you have a way to cook, you have a place to gather. There's nothing that brings people together like a fire, like a bonfire or hearth fire or fireplace, that sort of thing. I really like this one. I thought this was kind of neat. Night song. And yes, occasionally, it's a really weird thing when you hear it. When you hear a bird chirping or singing in the night, you don't normally hear that. And I remember I just went camping a few weeks ago, and I was hearing the birds settle down. It was reminding me of when I used to live out in the country. You would start to hear the birds settling down, and they sometimes get a little noisy before they kind of drift off to sleep on their boughs that they're sleeping on and that sort of thing. So it's kind of interesting. It'd be like, oh yeah, that is weird. And I have heard a bird kind of sing in the night, and it's supposed to be, some people say it's a good omen, some people say it's a bad omen. You know, of course you hear owls, they are nocturnal, so you'll hear them once in a while, but you don't usually hear birds. I've heard an owl for sure. Oh, there's the skull of flowers. That's pretty. Trick or treat, mischief and play. Gotta have that in the Halloween one. And then winter. Winter's coming, right? Time to sort of bundle up. The sacredness of pausing. Because that's what winter is. Winter is a pause for nature itself, too. Everything's kind of gone to sleep, from the plants to the animals. Some of the birds aren't out as much, kind of thing. The Canadian geese have gone south. They've just taken off to the beach. But, you know, winter is that time to slow down and just to pause and reflect. And it's a time of indoor activities, but inner activities as well. So, you know, this is the Oracle deck, the Halloween Oracle deck. I'm really enjoying using it. I'm going to be using it in some of my Halloween spreads. So please look on Facebook for that promotion of those spreads if you want to book one for yourself. And you can support me in many ways. You can buy me a coffee. I'll put Ko-Fi up there if you want to give me a tip to let me keep doing more of these kind of videos, educational as well as deck reviews. And please come here if you're looking for a deck. Please comment on what deck you're wanting a review on. I may already have it in my collection. I just may have not done the review yet. I know I got a request for the Dragon one, so I will be doing the Dragon Oracle deck. Where is it? By Diana Cooper. That's the one, because there's a few out there, so I just wanted to specify. So I will be doing an Oracle, or I mean a review on that Oracle deck as well fairly soon. And you can also support me by following me on Instagram, by clicking the subscribe button and hopefully clicking that bell so you get the notifications when new videos go up. You can follow me on Facebook as well, and I'll put all the links for all those things below. I do readings both in the parlor, which I'm in right now, or online. So I usually do it through Facebook video chat. So I'm sitting here like this, but you're interacting live with me. Or I can do it by phone or email as well if you want to book a reading with Lady Rose. So thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed this review. Again, as always, I held a few cards back so that if you get the deck for yourself, there'll be a few surprises that you didn't see in this video, because I like to keep life as a little bit of a surprise for you. Okay, take care. I hope you're having a great day. I know mine's going to get better. Bye.